Hi Darren, how you doing?
Yeah, you okay, Chris?
Yeah, better qualified to ask you about the game itself. I just want to ask you about what's going on before the match tomorrow. It's going to be quite a poignant afternoon, I imagine, at Hillsborough.
Yeah, you can imagine what the atmosphere is going to be at Hillsborough tomorrow. A large crowd, and before the game, certainly we as a football club want to pay our respects um, to our beloved Queen. So and that's what's going to take part tomorrow. Um, we've got it all set in place. There's a procedure that will go on before kick-off, and also the supporters, everybody will be able to have an impeccable minute silence, and then we'll join in with God Save Our Queen with the anthem, really. So everybody gets to play their part, and I'm sure it'll be a wonderful tribute to Our Majesty.
Do you mind me asking, Darren, what the Queen meant to you?
Yeah, just proud, really, in terms of you know, when you look back at in the time that she was here with us, and how she just served her country impeccably, and how it meant so much to her, really. And you hear so many tributes, and I can only imagine that in her company, she made you feel really, really special, really, and in terms of that. But for someone to be that consistent in her life, in the time of being sort of thrusted into the role far, far earlier than she could have ever anticipated, and for her to carry out it in an impeccable manner, really, really is over many, many years, was absolutely just fantastic. And it makes you feel proud in terms of the royal family, and what she stood for, and her legacy will certainly live on.
I really appreciate that. I'll leave it to the other guys, but I appreciate your time with that, mate.
Cheers, thank you, thanks.
Hey Darren, quick thought on the formation that you used the other night. Is that a plan that you intend to stick with and give it a bit of a run now, or was that specifically for the Morgan game?
You know me, Rob. Horses for courses. You know me for now. I'll use different shapes and formations. For the games and that coming up in foremost. It was good to see us use that shape for that particular game, and good to see it come off. Obviously, you want it to come off. So, but as the games roll on, we'll pick and choose how we see fit with the opposition.
Can I ask you about your philosophy, Darren? Is there something that helped you establish that during your playing career and your managerial career, to sort of have that horses for courses approach versus, I don't know, a slightly different one that would sort of stick to a set formation and say we're going to be pretty consistent with it?
Yeah, I think you have to be adaptable, because I think nowadays, with so much media coverage now, and so much sort of footage that can be picked up in terms of playing trends and styles of play. Yes, you can do. Some teams can feel that they're going to stay a particular way. Why? Because they just feel that they've got better players than the opposition, so they're just going to stay a particular way. Some teams will change from week to week, and some teams will stay the course. I just think it's different, because the reason why you just got to be different, because you just got to be adaptable. You got to be adaptable for the opposition. You got to be adaptable that if you get injuries or suspensions, I just think you need to be adaptable, because you need to try and stay to the strength of your team in different circumstances. So that's the reason why I've always sort of applied this approach when it comes to games.
Really well taken goal by Michael Smith the other night. Is he reaching a level now after his injury where, this is the player that we saw last season, who's a plus 20 goal striker? Is he sort of reaching that level of form now, do you think, and that sharpness?
Yeah, and as the games go by and training's gone by, I've liked what I saw in him and everything else. He had a couple of niggles, and if anything, I suppose it was myself, Rob, what just pulled him out. Because I just said, just get fit. Not for the want of him, because he wants to play, but I just wanted him fit, because with him fit, we see the true Michael Smith that he can bring. I thought he led the line well. I thought he was a good target man. I thought he stood in the right areas. I thought his link-up play was good. And I thought we saw a little bit of resemblance of when he's been playing against us last season. But for me, what I will say that there's still a lot more to come from him. But it's great to see him back and in a better place in terms of his physicality.
What do you think the team showed the other night at Morecambe? Because they played the famous low block and they tried to frustrate you. You were patient. You had that bit of quality, didn't you? You know, it was an entertaining performance from your team. Can you enjoy a performance like that? What did you read from what the team showed at Morecambe?
Yeah, and remember last season, Rob, it was similar, but last season we weren't able to break it down. But this season, I think what pleased me more than anything, was the lads who stuck to the game plan and never deviated away from it. And obviously we knew what the game plan was, but when I look back and analyse it, they just stuck to it. There was great trust and belief in it. There wasn't sort of these wild shots or losing shape, but they just stuck to the game plan. It was almost, there was a real trust in it. And in the end, we managed to wore down our opponents and got the goals. But I think the pleasing thing was a massive tick. They just stuck to the game plan. And we just spoke at half time that, you know, even though it was a good 45 minutes, we just said but we're not happy with it, are we? And we all agreed we wasn't, and we just carried on the same format. Second half, they changed their shape and that, but we stepped to the game plan, and great to see us get the goals midway through the second half. And I just thought once we got the first goal, it would force them to turn to their plan B, and then we got two more after that.
And looking ahead to Ipswich, do you need to give the fans a similar home performance now to allow them to draw a line under the Barnsley game? Do you owe them that kind of performance now, do you think?
Every time we play, Rob, we owe the fans a performance. Every time, it doesn't matter whether I thought we got a performance at Morecambe. Every time we step out on the pitch, we owe the fans a performance, irrespective of whether we're home or away, and that's the way I see it. So it'd be no different against Ipswich. It'd be a great game. It'd be two teams going head to head. Some real high-level football will be played tomorrow, I anticipate, from both teams. Both teams got a certain way they want to play. Both teams have got a certain patterns they want to play. And both teams carry players that individually are good and collectively as two teams going head-to-head. So it bodes well for a really, really good game, top of the table clash. And we look forward to it. It's another game for me. It's another 3 points for me. It just means that they're the next team up, and we go head to head.
Kieran McKenna, the Ipswich boss, has been speaking ahead of this game, and he said of the crowd at Hillsborough, it can be a difficult crowd to play in front of if the team's not going well and the team is not on top. It means Sheffield Wednesday are not on top. Do you see where he's coming from when he says stuff like that?
Yeah, because I suppose he's got it himself at Ipswich. Really, there'll be an expectancy down there that if he's at home, there'll be an expectancy from the crowd against certain teams that you're expected to win games. It's just the magnitude of the clubs, really. So it's no different. So when he speaks like that, I know exactly where he's coming from. The way I see it is that's the way football is. And it's the reason why I suppose myself and him have taken the jobs that we have taken, because it whets our appetite week in, week out. So when he speaks like that, yeah, I can understand where he's coming from. But for me, it's again just staying consistent with what we are and staying consistent to build and keep trying to build and work on our winning mentality. And you know, this is another game that both of us are going head to head. Probably one game where both sets of fans will be sort of probably split right down the road because of the size and magnitude of the clubs, and we understand that. So, you know, the game will commence tomorrow, and we'll see how the game goes.
I bet you'd love to win this one though, wouldn't you, Darren? I mean, it's the top of the league, coming to Hillsborough, it can really lift you off this season, couldn't it, if you could get a win against Ipswich on Saturday?
Absolutely, Rob, and it's the reason why I say it, because Ipswich is the next team. But whoever it would have been, I want to win. We wanted to win at Morecambe, didn't we? We got the job done. And this is the next one. I put the line through Morecambe, and it's just focusing on to Ipswich. So of course we want to win And truth be known, Rob, and every manager will say it, we want to win every game. So of course I want to win, but we know the magnitude of the game and we know the difficulty of the game. So when I say it with the utmost respect, because you got to go and earn the right to win. And certainly if we are to come away with 3 points tomorrow, the team and individuals in the team will have to have played well.
And finally, just a quick check on the injuries. Darren, is there any team news, injury news ahead of the weekend?
The one we're pleased with is that Ben Hennigan's making wonderful, good progress. The other two, Akin and Dennis, are obviously longer term ones. We had 1 or 2 scrapes and bruises the other night from Morecambe, but no more than we anticipated coming out of the game, which you expect. So hopefully tomorrow, all being well, we'll see what shape the group is in, and then we'll go from there, Rob.
Cheers, Darren. All the best.
Thanks, Rob. Cheers.
You all right, Darren? How's things? You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good stuff. You had 4 players in the team of the week for League One this week. Barry Bannon in the full sort of EFL team of the week as well. I know that it's not about individuals, but how nice is it for you as a manager to see, so many of your players getting plaudits for the performances they're putting in?
Yeah, obviously it's a good sign, Joe. I've got to be pleased with that to have 4 of them in the team. It's really good because it's not about us as picking it. It's coming from other outside. Was selecting what they feel their best 11 is. So to have 4 of them in there shows that they're on the right page in terms of performances and playing to their full potential. And what we're trying to get from them, Joe, is that level of consistency, which is probably the biggest and hardest thing for any sportsman or women to find in their profession, really, in their sporting profession. But as I said, to have the players like that shows that they're operating at a level where we want them to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I also wanted to ask you, you said about Tyreek being left out the other day. You've had to make big decisions leaving players out who have been playing well or, based on this cautious approach. How impressed have you been with the sort of the response of players that have been left out?
Yeah, it's something that's been explained to them right from in pre-season, Joe, in terms of the team, and it's a squad, and they're not individuals, because I always say to them, it's individuals. If it is, then you've chosen the wrong sport to come in. You're better off being a tennis player or a snooker player or something like that, where you're an individual. For me, it's a squad, so they've got to buy into what we're trying to bring here. It's a grueling season. It's a 2-3 game a week season consistently, as you see now, probably through to November. We've got 2 or 3 games a week. So I'll guarantee you this, Joe, that every single one of the squad players will get called upon. And I guarantee you this, that there's going to be some sort of rotation in because of the volume of games and the turnaround and the travel, and that's what you have the squad for. So that's one thing I've guaranteed them all. And the next thing, what they've got to be, and they have to always be, is be ready. They've got to be ready. And irrespective of whether I win a game and people think that I'll go with the same settled squad, I'll change it. Whether we win, lose or draw, I'll change it as I see fit to change it, because I think it's right to do in terms of the squad and the jobs and roles and responsibilities they've got to do. So, and I'll consistently do that throughout the course of the season. But the biggest thing for me is it's training a group of players that when they are asked to step in and perform well for Sheffield Wednesday, they're able to do that.
And then sort of one player who has sort of been out and come back in against Morecambe today with Fizz, came on, really helped change the game, pushed them and opened things up for them. Firstly, how impressed were you with sort of his cameo performance of the day? And secondly, has there been any progress in terms of Fizz's contract talks with the club?
Yeah, no, at the moment, talks are there and on a hold. What I've just done is left that to 1 or 2 others within it to pick up that within the club, which they are doing. But the important thing for myself and Fizz is making sure that we're staying focused on the training pitch. I thought his role when he come on the other night was really good. I thought his ability to receive and carry the ball was good. I thought his offloads were excellent. I thought his runs off the ball was really, really good. And he gave us that threat. And obviously, as you know, he helped set up the third goal, which was wonderful for Fizz. So we feel with Fizz, he's probably almost the most complete midfield player in terms of what he's got and what he possesses. What we're trying to do with Fizz is, I always said that 75% of his game was good in between the defending box and up to the opposition box. What we're trying to do is work on that final 25% of his game where people are talking and eulogising, like yourself, Joe, here, about his performance. And I think if we can consistently do that with him, for someone so young, then I think the very, very top, he can go to the very, very top and beyond.
Brilliant. Another player who's done really well, another younger guy, Mark McGuinness. He's just been called up for the Irish 21s. Is that kind of bittersweet for you, knowing that he's possibly going to miss a game because of that? Yeah,
and I knew, Joe, that I'm so pleased that, you know, the Chef Wednesday fans have seen him. He's a good player, he's a solid player. He's wonderful, and for someone with the size of Mark, he moves well across the ground, and he's clean with the ball at his feet, which is excellent. And you know, aerially, his dominance in both boxes. And I knew also as well, if we got him going here and he's playing consistent football, then I knew the international honours would be coming for him. So I'm not surprised. I'm pleased for Mark, and long may that continue. But he's just got to keep his head down and keep going. And as I said, you know, if he keeps going the way he's going, then, you know, the future looks bright for him as well in the game of football.
Brilliant. I want to touch on Luke Jackson a little bit. He obviously was highly rated at Wednesday. I know he's a really big lad in terms of height. He's been missing from the under-23s last season, obviously the under-21s now. Saw him back for the 21s playing the other day. What has been sort of the situation with Luke? Because obviously he fell down the pecking order. Was that down to injury? What was the situation with him?
Yeah, sustained a real terrible injury towards the back end of last season. We've got him back now, we've got him fit, and he's just starting to come back in now. Obviously somebody highly rated and recommended, but what we're giving him now is some training. You know, he's been in and around the first team training with us. I think that's right for him to sharpen up his tools again, really. But he's probably been out for nearly 4, 5, 6 months, even towards the back end of the season. You're looking at now, but now he's back into it and he's getting training. That was his first under-23s game the other night, and great for him to get some minutes back. But he's still working his way back to what he'll feel is probably like, you know, he's probably not back to his level best. But there's a process going on with him, and I'm sure it won't be too long before he's back in and around it. And possibly if we look at that, we may look at him on maybe in the new year, probably looking to loan him or something like that if we feel it's right.
What was his injury? Obviously, something like that is obviously a bad one if he's out 5, 6 months. What did he actually do?
Yeah, and his knee injury really. So it was, and as you know, with the goalkeeper, for their speed and agility and the kicking and that, it was a severe impact injury and that. But as I said, he's back. He's rehabilitated now, and he's back now, and he's looking forward.
Brilliant. Just lastly from me, I was reading an article that you did with the Coach's Voice. I think it was done a while ago. There was a part in there where you spoke about almost meeting Alex Ferguson and getting a chance to go and sit and have a chat with him, and it didn't happen. I was just wondering if since then you've actually managed to, you know, sit down with him at all, or is that you're still waiting for that chance?
No, I've actually sat with him, and I have actually did it, and it was at the LMA Awards, and we actually sat on the table, and it was what a lovely evening, and yeah, fantastic for me to sit with him and sort of just have a good chat, and also as well at the same time for him to give me 1 or 2 tips for, in my managerial career. So I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, I have sat with him.
What the obviously not all the ins and outs, but what was sort of his top advice to you in terms of your managerial career?
His top advice to me was tell Joe Cran nothing.
Wait, if he knows who I am, I'll take that. Brilliant. Cheers, Darren.
Cheers, Joe. Top man.
Hi Darren, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, Alex.
As
long as you don't start treating us like Fergie used to treat the media, that'll do me.
No.
I want to ask about the decision to switch things up a little bit at Morecambe, obviously the selections decisions that you make game to game. How are these decisions made? How much of a part of it is influenced by Jamie and Wayne and Simon? How are the decisions made? You thrash it out over a coffee or whatever, and how far ahead in advance do you work for these fixtures?
Well, remember what I said to you, Alex, right from the start in pre-season, we've gone down a route where, you're training a group of players, but we're consistently training a group of players day in, day out in different themes in training, players playing in different positions, players probably playing in different formations, in small-sided games, in phases of play, practices, just having a look at them and drip feeding them. But also when the player arrives at the football club, he has his specific position, but there's a second or third position which I say that I can see you playing here and I can see you playing there for the team. And if you look at the squad that we've assembled this season, the volume in terms of players is not as great as what we had last season, so it's shorter numbers. But I feel there's a bit more versatility in this squad, really, to see players. So for me, that's implemented straight away, and it's a continuation of that throughout the season, working in training and looking at that. But I think the biggest thing is making the players aware that at any given time he could be called in and ready to perform, and anything can happen in a game on a Saturday, and you've got to just step in and do a job for the team. Also at the same time, they're told with the volume of games we've got coming, not to second guess anything and just be ready to perform for the club. So there's all those things have been already in place and are in place. What we just do is to reaffirm those, is keep working on those principles in training, so that when players are stepped into us to do a job, they can do a job and try and do it to the best of their ability. So, and of course, when game to game, when there's that rotation or we're changing it up, individuals can step in and perform as well, because mentally they're ready for the call up. And I think that's the biggest thing with it. The coaching staff always work from game to game. The minute one game's finished, we're straight on to the next game, because when the players do come in, you get a limited amount of time to work with a shape and system and the availability of the players. So that's another thing as well, is to utilise the time as much as possible when making it. So we made changes the other night at Morecambe, and it didn't seem to disrupt us much, but it was the type of game we was going into, and the game that we probably anticipated what we'd probably get. And it worked that way, and I just thought after 5-10 minutes we settled down and controlled the game, really, which was good to see.
How much an input or a sway, or whatever word you might want to use, do they have? Is it a case that you'll look at it and say, look, this is what we're doing, lads, and they implement a training, whatever it might be, or is it a sit down and an open conversation between a lot of you?
Yeah, and every time when we make a decision, I always explain it to the individual why I'm making that decision and what I'm seeing, and we'll wait and see. Sometimes they work, Alex, sometimes they don't, but the individual's got to see why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's the way how we try and do it, really. I think it's got to be a joint effort, because what happens is it leaves the individual knowing exactly what we've done at the time and why we've done it at the time. And I just think that the players are human beings as well, and I think if they know that, not to say that they're probably inside going to accept it, because all of them want to play, but it's I think where we're at as this club and in this day and age, in terms of how we're going to sort of come through a 46-game league season, along with 3 cup competitions. You're going to need this squad, and you're going to call on your squad at some point throughout that season.
I want to ask you about Josh. There's no one in the division that's got more direct goal contributions. He's obviously done very well since coming back from injury. Obviously, we the layman, we can see the pace that he's got and the ability to his shooting ability and all the rest of it. I wondered, from a coaching perspective, what are the little bits and bobs that perhaps we don't see that make Josh Windass so effective?
Yeah, I mean, you've touched on a couple there. He's got wonderful mobility between the lines. When he's marked tightly, he can go over the top, and he operates in spaces on the pitch that certain players can't just do. But what he has got, he's got a real understanding of the game, and very clever with the areas he picks up on the pitch at the time. And that's what he's got, really. He's got a real good footballing brain, as well as to add to the ability that he's got. What we've tried to do is get him in those positions, and if we can get him in certain positions, we know he's a threat, he carries a threat, and that's what he's done. He's missed some football, so he's got the bit between his teeth. He's almost lost time that he wants to catch up with, and he just wants a bit of consistency to him. As his manager and looking to see what he's got, I see him getting better and better. Week after week, he's getting better and better. And even though the goals that he has scored and the assists that he's assisted with the team with, I still think there's more to come from him. But the more to come from him is him playing that consistency and getting to that level. And as I said, you know, he's had to be managed back. I left him at the team at Peterborough because I just thought the games, when you come back for being out that long, you've had to manage him. I've taken him off in certain minutes just to manage him this season until we feel his body's back at that robust state where he can deal with 2 or 3 games a week, 90 minutes. But he's near on there, he's getting back there, and we just want him to continue the way he's going, Alex, and keep applying those goals and assists, because he's certainly enjoying it, and long may that continue.
Good stuff. Just touching on Ipswich, obviously Tyrese John Joel's someone that you know pretty well. Circumstances went against him at Wednesday. First of all, what sort of threat does he deliver? And you must be pleased from a human point of view that he's managed to get another good loan move.
Yeah, I mean, got the utmost respect for Tyrese, somebody that I know really, really well, and the player that he is, a tremendous player, good off both feet. He's a good size, he moves well, he sees the game, he sees pictures, and he carries a goal threat. And he can play up top as a 9, he can play as a 10, he can play a lot more deeper in the pitch. He can play out wide as well as through the middle. So he's somebody with wonderful versatility in the attacking areas. And I'm really pleased, number 1, to see him back fit and playing football. And number 2 as well, yeah, him securing himself another wonderful loan move. And I'm sure for him, he'll want to make this loan move a successful one. I'm sorry that he wasn't here at Wednesday because obviously you knew we took him in last season, but unfortunately he sustained an injury, so the Wednesday fans didn't really see the true potential of him. You know, so, but you know, great to see him get the move that he's got, and yeah, I'll meet and greet him after the game tomorrow.
Good stuff. And then finally for me, obviously pay tribute to the Queen and all the rest of it. Through football or through, I know you do a lot of sort of off-field work, did you ever get the opportunity to meet her?
No, I never did get the opportunity to meet her. And yeah, you know, but in terms of, you know, how she held herself, I suppose along with myself and many people worldwide probably felt that they'd met her in terms of how she sort of conducted herself, and how she just served us all, really, in terms of as well as the royal family. So we're really, and you know, to celebrate, you know, the 70th was wonderful. To mark the occasion was, you know, me as an individual was, you know, in my own way celebrated it, really. So, you know, it's a sad loss, obviously. You know, our condolences go out to the whole royal family, but we can always thank them as well. You know, what a wonderful Queen, and how she served the country well, and it makes us feel so proud, really. So I'm glad to be part of it and to be manager at Sheffield Wednesday, to mark a landmark occasion like tomorrow. But it's for me to pay my utmost respects on behalf of us all at Sheffield Wednesday Football Club to the royal family.
Thanks, Darren. Good luck tomorrow.
Cheers, thank you.
Hi Darren, how are you?
All right, Dom. Yeah, good, thanks.
Good stuff. What are your thoughts on the job that Kieran McKenna has done in turning Ipswich's fortunes around?
He's an excellent job. He's somebody that's been well headhunted by them. It's somebody that's showing his true potential. It's somebody as an individual. When we spoke last season after the game, and we was in the manager's office afterwards, it's something that he knew he had some work to do, but he'd implemented and started. So he had the back end of last season to have a real good look. He's had a good summer of recruitment and settling the team down, a good pre-season, and he started the season very, very well. In each position, he's got the right components in the right positions all across the pitch. And the beautiful thing what I see with them is they've been coached and they've been taught well. And that's the thing what you can see, that the work that he's doing on the training ground is paying dividends in the league in terms of what he's doing. So all round, the job that he's doing at the moment is he's brought solidity to Ipswich, and he's implementing a team that's doing really, really well and applying to his patterns and his way of thinking, which is good, really. So yeah, an excellent job.
Do you expect them to finish in the top two this season?
Yes, I do, yeah, because of the calibre of players that they've got, and the level of players they've got for the level of football. I don't want to speak about, you know, but they've recruited very, very well in terms of how they've gone about it. But also at the same time, recruiting well, you still got to make that work. And at the moment, the early signs are very, very good. So for him and his team and his staff, you know, they've done really, really well. And it's good to see, because as I said, we spoke last season and he just spoke about getting back to work and really getting some work done in the training ground, which is something I've always spoken about, to implement good practice and a consistency. Most of your work's done in the training ground.
The club, you left off Akin from the EFL, the squad list that was confirmed recently. Why was that? And is that something you can add him back to the list when he's fit? Is that the plan? Yeah. He's off, but we can add him at any time, really. So once he gets back fit in the next few months, we'll add him straight back on. But we can add him on at any time. You're still hopeful that he will be fit before the end of this year, then?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. And is he progressing well? I mean, how is he feeling at the moment in terms of, because of the seriousness of the injury? I mean, how is he doing? Yeah,
very, very well. I said to Akin, you know, that probably in his mind, he's probably on a lonely road at the moment, because he's working himself, getting back, and he's on his own, and he's with the physios, and he's having one-to-one. But I said, as each day goes by, it's a day closer to him getting back fitter and joining back with the team. So he's just got to stay true and positive that way. But what I will say, Dom, is in terms of where he's at, he's making huge strides going forward. And it's not dampening his spirits. You know, if anything, it's whetted his appetite. And by the time he comes back, he's got a large part of the season still to contribute and play in, which is what he's looking forward to. But we're certainly anticipating being back before the end of the year.
Ryan Galvin's gone out on loan. Why did you decide to loan him out to Maidstone in the end?
Really important. They needed a left-sided player. Ryan fit the bill. I thought it was the right one for him to go and play some football. As I said, he's at that age now when we spoke about certainly himself being here, of looking for that opportunity as a loan. And I thought it was a good opportunity for him to go and have a loan where he's going to play some football, and it's what he needs at the age he is now and where he's at now. When even though he's playing football, it gives us an opportunity to see him at the level and see where he's at in terms of developing his physicality and football decision making, and his ability and when he's on the pitch and his performances and how he's performing for Maidstone. So really pleased for him, and hopefully I'll do the loan justice with good performances.
Will you be keeping regular tabs on him and how he's progressing and how he's doing?
Yes, I will do. Know the manager very, very well. So I've got a direct line to him. So week to week, I'm in contact with him just to see how he's getting on, not just in games, but in training.
Just finally, Darren, Malik didn't get on the other night. I mean, how close is he to starting in the league?
He's getting there. We just want to get him to a level that we just don't want him to take a step backwards. If anything, it's about him going forward, really. So he's close because the weeks are going by and he's training and he's getting used to that. And as I said, you know, he's always part of the squad. So again, he's another member that when we feel it's right, and if he is right, then we'll give him that start. But he's getting closer. He's getting really, really closer. And that's what we want to do. We want to get him to a level where he's able to contribute to the game, because he's what he's got and what he possesses. I know it'll come into full effect for us this season. I know it will. While we've got him in, and I'm pleased to have him here. But as I said, I'm just giving him a real good level and volume of training before we feel he's at any point to start.
Cheers, Darren. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Dom. Cheers.
That's it.